Hi, and welcome to the Beer Temple. My name is Chris Quinn, and your name is?
Margaret Quinn.
It's a little beer downloady for you. If you guys haven't seen Beer Download before, check it out. Already off on a tangent before I've said a single thing.
I haven't even started.
Yeah, this is the Beer Temple, and it is not Beer Download, but we are here for part 2 of our series. I'm not going to say how many part series because I don't know yet.
It's like a mini series. You're not quite sure. It's like north is south, and yeah.
Lonesome Dove.
Lonesome Dove. It's in that vein. Yeah, we're not sure.
We'll win several daytime Emmys for this. Although those are all nighttime. Whatever. So, sour beer. The first part was about Flanders red ales from Belgium. Now that is a style. There are certain styles like this one that of the Flanders red that are made in America. So the second part I figured was, what are these Americans doing with this traditionally Belgian, although not entirely Belgian, style of beer, these sour beers. So I wanted to get a cross section of kind of the history of sour beer in America. Right now it is like sour is the new hops, you know? I mean, sour is just so popular right now. And it's also one of like the geekiest styles. It's the one, a lot of ones that geeks just like go crazy for, highly sought after. Go for outrageous amounts on, you know, on trades in Beer Advocate or on eBay or anything like that. So, you know, I'm a fan of sours. I have quite a few sours. I didn't really try to get my most rare sours. That isn't what I was trying to do. I really wanted to look at the history of the style a little bit. That's kind of where I like to go to with this show. So I really kind of racked my brain and asked you and asked a lot of people, well, what really typifies sour? So I think I have a pretty good lineup here.
Absolutely.
And with that said, I think, you know, I'll talk a little bit about American wild ales and then just kind of get into it. So anything you wanted to add?
No,
My lovely wife, Margaret?
No, I think you're exactly right as far as it comparing to, you know, the hop craze. I think as things become more and more unusual to drink, like the flavors are more unusual, similar to, you know, big hops, just like sours, you know, some of these really tart, really funky things have gotten this kind of cult following, and I think that's attributed to, you know, this craze for sours.
Yeah, and like with a lot of things with the American beer palate, if something is good, more of that thing is better.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, like as you get further and further into it, then it's like, oh, well, you know, Duchess is no longer sour enough for me. I need something a little tartar, and then it kind of keeps snowballing into.
Right. So I like IPAs. Different. I like, well, IPAs aren't enough. What do they call it at Russian River? Lupulin threshold shift.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talk about palate shift a lot, and it's the same with sours. You know, what was balanced to us used to be incredibly tart.
Right.
Now you just need stuff that is like daggers in your face tart, just like sucks your face in. It's so tart.
You got to eat Tums afterwards.
Yeah, which I literally had to do yesterday. I was at a sour event and I told the bartender, I was like, oh man, my stomach is hurting. He's like, you need Tums? Because I got them. That's how you know the bartender knows his stuff at a sour event, when he's got a tub of Tums this big. It's just like, here, have them.
But yeah, let's get cracking.
Yeah, so let's get cracking. The first I wanted to go to is really, I think, one of the forefathers of sour beer in America. That is Jolly Pumpkin from Dexter, Michigan. All the beers they do, I believe, I could be wrong, are oaked. A lot of them are sour. They're pretty much all infected. Every single beer they do, I believe, that they do in their main production facility is infected.
But you mean infected in a good way, not like a funky way.
Yeah, so I talked about how Rodenbach has these oak vessels, and they get inoculated with bacteria and wild yeasts. And how Rodenbach was so unique in that that's the only style they brew. So that's not quite the same with Jolly Pumpkin, but they only do stuff that is, like I said, oak aged, I believe. They might have a few that aren't. And, well, they're all infected because it's hard once the bugs are everywhere to get them out. You can try to separate the two and then keep them separate from, oh, these are my non-buggy beers and these are my buggy beers. But once they're in everything, I think it's incredibly hard to get out, which is why a lot of breweries are very, very nervous about touching wild yeast. I know Dogfish Head, for one, Sierra Nevada is doing a collaboration with Russian River, and we were talking to the people at Russian River, petrified of it. They didn't want the yeast anywhere near. They had a special machine built just to deal with wild yeast, which they kind of like injected into bottles, and then when they were done with it, they gave the machine to Russian River, said we don't even want it in our brewery. So people kind of freak out because it can potentially be very, very hard to get this wild yeast, which is just everywhere, or bacteria, out of your beer. And when Jolly Pumpkin started, you know, over a decade ago, actually quite a bit longer than that, it was just insane to have to think of a brewery only doing sour beer, or funky beer. And now there's several breweries that are doing that, but these are really the first. So I wanted to start with these guys. And this is their Oro de Calabaza. Now, they have beers that are more sour than this, but I don't know. Gusher. This is something else you can get from sour beers. You can get beers that just kind of, oh gosh. So here's the most unique pour we've done on the show before.
That is not going to work well, dude.
No, that's not going to work. So what am I going to do? Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Pour it onto the ground.
Max is going to have a party down there. Max is like, what's happening? I love it.
I can already smell it. It's quite funky. Our rug is going to be funky. It's already gushing out of the bottle again. So, okay.
I think we're good now.
Watch this. We haven't had a gusher in a while.
Yeah. It's good. I think we're okay.
No. It's going to keep coming out. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, what do we do? All right. Well, I'm just going to...
Yeah, pour more. Pour more.
Yeah, pour more, and then we'll just get... I'll pour myself more, and then we'll just set this glass off to the side.
All right.
Okay. It's actually kind of fitting that we had a gusher here. It's alive. This yeast, unlike brewer's yeast, Brettanomyces, which is a wild yeast, can chew through a lot more sugars. In fact, Vinny Salerzo from Russian River was saying that if they run out of sugars, they'll actually start eating like the sugars that are in wood, which isn't really, it must be just be such a complex sugar or form of sugar. They just eat anything. So when you put it in here, it'll just chew through any sugar possible. And when it makes alcohol, each sugar makes alcohol. The byproduct is carbon dioxide, bubbles, gas. So it just keeps making this gas, and that's why a lot of these bottles are in these really thick glass. These beers are in really thick glass that can hold up to this pressure. A normal bottle will explode, and I've seen it happen, and it's kind of nasty. So anyway, this is Oro de Calabaza. This is their just blonde ale, and it is more of a funky beer than a sour beer. It's got Brettanomyces. Brettanomyces will often make acetic acid or lactic acid as well. So I figured this would be a good one to start. This is from November 2011.
Right.
So, about half a year old.
Yep.
And, let's dive in.
Yeah.
Take a look. Cloudy, obviously unfiltered.
Absolutely cloudy, and, just kind of a medium yellow, I'd say. Maybe pale gold color. Looks nice.
Quite carbonated, obviously.
And it's, even though you said, like, oh, this isn't going to be a sour, it certainly smells like a sour. It smells like that, like, very tart, kind of citric.
Yeah, almost like a green peach or something. Like, when you eat a piece of, like, unripe fruit that's still kind of bitter or tart or something like that, but still has the character of that fruit, but it's not that really, like, kind of dripping ripe fruit yet. That's kind of what I'm getting here. And also a little bit of like a hay, or people say horse blanket. You're definitely getting that as well.
Yeah, I think it really smells good though.
And a little bit of like minerality or stone in there as well, or some sort of rocky minerality. Man. So, no bitterness at all. I talked about it a little bit in the last show. So the tartness plays off the malt. This is really nice to me. It's got a wonderful kind of base of pale malt, followed by that peachy or apricot-y or peach or apricot nectarine, something like that. A little bit of like a chalky, lemony, yogurty, lactic acid quality.
There's something in here that I can't exactly place right now, but that I don't like, and it's hitting me at the very end of the sip. Because I get those stone fruits that you're talking about. Like I get that tart peach and things like that.
In the back is where I'm getting kind of yogurty quality.
And I was gonna call it almost like a chemical type flavor or something. Maybe yogurt. Yeah, I mean like tangy Greek yogurt or something. I'm not sure what it is, but all I know is that I don't really like it back in there. I think I would prefer if it's just kind of like that, more that kind of tangy fruit flavor. You don't get that at all. You don't get like a strange chemical thing. I wonder if it's something I ate earlier or something like that. Because
I mean, I'm getting a bit of, I'm almost getting the minerality or something like that. I wouldn't call it necessarily chemically, but I do get like gravel or slate or something kind of rocky to me. But I certainly don't mind it. I kind of like it. And a nice kind of tart, unripe fruit finish to it. I like this beer a lot. I haven't had this beer in a while, and that's going to change. I really like this beer. It's not overly tart, but I mean, I don't know if this is even a starter sour beer.
Yeah, you're right.
This is
you're right.
Funky.
Yeah, it is.
Funky. Really nice kind of like earthy hay quality as well.
Yeah, I get the hay for sure. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what it is yet, but I don't think I like it quite as much as you. But
so I'm going to go 94. I like this beer.
Wow, you really like it.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I'll go 88. I think it's good. There's something in there that it's kind of turning me off a little bit, but all in all, not a bad beer at all. And Jolly Pumpkin, for anyone who's not familiar with the brewery, if you're like me, you've probably wondered how the heck they got that name.
Yeah.
Because I always used to confuse it with
nothing to do with pumpkin.
Right. I used to always confuse it with a pumpkin beer. I was like, oh, is it Halloween? What's this? But no, it literally is just a name that kind of made the owner smile when they thought about it, and just kind of something lighthearted.
It actually took them years to make a pumpkin beer. I mean, years and years and years before they made a pumpkin beer.
Yeah. And so I think that's really cool. They kind of have stuck with it, even though it does kind of conjure up those Halloween and pumpkin beer type images.
Sitting on the mic, swirling around.
Max.
He's like trying to use the mic stand as a butt scratcher. He's like sitting on it and like rocking his butt. Well, that's great. I think this might be 2 shows in a row. We need to take a break because we need more glasses. So let's do that, and we'll be right back. And we're back with new glasses for me, and Max has been banished for now from the room.
Until he comes back.
Until he comes back, whenever he wants to. That's what we mean by banished. He's decided to leave. So we just had the Jolly Pumpkin. Moving on to another kind of forefather of American sour or wild ales, New Belgium. Their head brewer actually comes from Rodenbach, so we figured that would be fitting. Peter Buchart, really one of the, like I was saying, father figures of American sour beers, and this was their original sour beer that I know of. This is La Folie. This is kind of their Rodenbach-inspired beer. You okay?
Yeah, and he's decided to come back, so all hell could break loose at any moment. Lick that sour on the ground.
Yeah, no, he's gonna want to eat this delicious beer-soaked tissue. He was already eyeing it up.
He's our dog, after all.
Oh, it fell again. So, anyway.
Rodenbach.
Yeah, so he came from Rodenbach, who is famous for their sour red beers, and Max, just get out of here, dog. I dropped it again.
Imagine living in this house with this dog, with this creature.
Yeah. So, sit. Good boy. Okay. So, where were we? Hoppy beers? Hops? La Folie. That means the folly, but it's kind of like a happy folly, and like a happy accident, and that's kind of what sour beers are.
Right.
Because they're very hard to be precise about. They have these huge oak foeders that they have, these big oak tons like they have in Rodenbach. In fact, I'll put up a picture of me standing next to one just to give you some scale about how big these things are.
You mean hugging one, right?
Hugging them, because I love New Belgian sour beers.
He's a little geeked out about, well, this beer probably is one of the ones that you
In fact,
really
when
love.
I saw the guy who runs their barrel program, I gave him a big hug as well.
Right.
I said, I have a picture of me hugging your foeder, and I want a picture of me hugging you now. The man who kind of makes the beer, who goes in there. So that's that's the story. This is they call it a brown ale. It's really, we were talking before, what's in a brown and a red. It kind of mixes. This is aged in oak. I definitely consider this to be a sour red. So and this is the 09. This is the first year they bottled it in 22-ounce glasses. Before that, it was kind of a really special cork and cage dealy. But now it comes out once a year. The 2012 came out a little bit ago, and this is the 09. So still has whatever sticker from wherever I bought it on there. 6%, and seriously sour. This Flanders-style reddish brown ale was fermented 1 to 3 years in French oak barrels for mouth-puckering perfection.
Now, is this the beer? I might be confusing it with terroir. In fact, I think I am. But I know I've gone in bars before and ordered a beer, one of the New Belgium sours, and the bartender kind of looks at me and was like, have you ever had that before? I think because a lot of people...
I think it was La Folie.
Yeah. So a lot of people, I think, see New Belgium and think like, oh, I like Fat Tire, and they order it and they get this sour beer, and a lot of people are really turned off. In fact, I've been at a bar before sitting next to people who've ordered one of these, and
said, oh no, this is bad.
Said like this is wrong, this is bad, and give it back to the bartender. And meanwhile, I'm like drooling, thinking like, please don't chuck that beer. But yeah, I think a lot of people they don't know that New Belgium is doing this kind of thing. So, it takes a lot of people by surprise.
Absolutely.
But I'm glad they're doing it.
Yeah. So you look at it, it is kind of a chestnut brown with some red highlights to it. Fairly clear, a lot more clear than the Oro de Calabaza was. And, obviously not a gusher, but, carbonated, but certainly darker. And
yeah, just a pretty beer.
So, harkens back much more to the beers that we had in the last episode. You've got that malty, malt vinegar, cherry thing going on. Yeah,
definitely some dark cherry in here. And I think you're absolutely right with the vinegar, the malt vinegar as well.
And remember, this is a 3-year-old bottle of beer. This beer, I think, is a little is oxidizing, but in a mature way as well. So
aging gracefully.
Aging gracefully. So almost a little bit of like sherry or port character to it as well. Those kind of like woody, oxidized, earthy flavors to it.
Yeah.
Where before it's often, bright and acidic and sharp. Now it feels a little bit more earthy and round.
I think you're absolutely right that this has oxidized some, especially upon tasting it. I think you're 100% right on that one. But
it tastes pretty darn good.
It's got some really nice that tartness, that puckering
cherry.
Yeah.
I mean, it tastes like we have some cherries, and that's what it reminds me of. How you taste the cherry, you have that kind of like pit in your mouth as well. It really tastes like a nice kind of like sweet sour cherry. Some good malt character to it, well balanced.
But let's face it, I mean, it is very sour. I mean, it's almost, it's like lemon juice in a way. I mean, if you were somebody who wasn't familiar with sours, I mean, you'd have to say I would say you'd compare it to lemon juice. I mean, it's really tangy and sour.
See, I'm almost getting a more earthy, almost leathery quality to it.
Yeah, and I get that too. But I'm trying to come to this with the eyes of somebody who is not really familiar with sours, and it is tangy.
Yeah, it's tangy. It's tart. It's certainly, so it's like an IPA, but replace hops with acetic acid. I mean, that's what it is. So, Yeah, you can have a balanced IPA, but it's still really hoppy. I mean, this is kind of a balanced sour. It is a sour beer.
Oh, yeah.
But it works. I mean, my mouth is like salivating right now. And also really good. I love kind of, it's quite vinous, earthy.
Yeah, I think this is another beer, and I think I said this about the Rodenbach. This is a beer for somebody who likes wine, because I think it picks up a lot of those wine, and you said sherry and port. Absolutely, it falls into all those categories a little bit. So this might be something to try with somebody who likes those kind of things.
And like a red wine vinegar.
Exactly.
This tastes like a red wine vinegar more than like a true like malt vinegar, balsamic vinegar. This is like a red wine vinegar.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's not nearly as funky as the Jolly Pumpkin.
But I prefer this. I'm not getting like that kind of, and you called it yogurt, I call it chemical. I didn't know really, it just wasn't a good descriptor for me probably, but I'm not getting that with this one. So I really like that this one comes at me with just, all the sour, all the tartness, nothing else really kind of muddling it for me. Maybe just the dark fruits. So yeah, this is right up my alley.
It's a cleaner beer. Brettanomyces tends to make things earthy and crazy and complex and yeah.
So I love this. I mean, I'm gonna go 95 on this. I think it's just really good beer.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 93 with it. I'm gonna go a little bit below the Oro de Calabaza, but still just an absolute showstopper sour beer. I could not be happier with both of those.
Yeah.
In fact, I mean, they could easily be both 94s, but I'll go 93, 94. Absolutely happy with them. Really, really like it. So, on to the little guy, Russian River. So, we had a Russian River sour on the first episode we ever did. You weren't there.
I was not.
You tried it afterwards, huh? We had Temptation on, and now we're having Consecration. So I referred to Vinny Salerzo earlier in the show from Russian River, another pioneer of oak aging, sour programs, came from the wine world.
Yeah, well, so Russian River is located in Santa Rosa, California. For those who are familiar with
the Russian River.
Right, so those familiar with
County.
the area, you may know Russian River because you've seen it on wine labels. It's in wine country in California.
And they're known kind of for two of the three big crazes in American beer right now. You've got the super stouts, the super hops, and the super sours. And super hop and super sour, these guys are at the top of the list. You've got the Pliny the Elder, Pliny the Younger for the sours, for the hops, and then you've got your beatification, consecration, supplication, all these Asians. So this is the Consecration. This is their batch 8, which is the most recent batch. It's about, I think it is about a year and a half old, I believe. And it's cool. They have the batch number on the bottles, and you can go online, and it has a chart of the brew date of every batch of every beer they've ever done, and they've had that for years. So really kind of cool. They're very much about age certain beers, drink certain beers fresh. And this beer is a sour beer. It's for the Toronado out in San Francisco. It's a famous beer bar. Had a 20th anniversary, and they brewed a sour dark ale, and they really loved it. They said it was the favorite beer, according to the label, that they ever did. So they wanted to kind of recreate it. So they modified it a little bit. This is aged in French oak barrels. Actually, I don't know if it's French oak. It's Cabernet Sauvignon barrels. 100% aged in Cabernet barrels, and they add currant to it.
Okay.
So
Sounds great.
it's aged 4 to 8 months, and they do blending as well. Very much in the wine and in the Belgian tradition. And there you have it.
Thank you.
I haven't had this beer in quite a while. I was gonna have Supplication on, but I just had one a couple days ago, so I want one that's kind of be new to me as I'm tasting it on camera. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I've said this about every beer, but again, really pretty beer. Nice, like, light red color, you know, dark.
Like a tawny color.
Yeah, tawny. Tawny port is what it looks like. Just really pretty. And
yeah, mine's clear, but then there's like one huge chunk of something dancing around in mine.
Yeah.
Something nasty. So, yeah.
You mean something delicious.
Yeah, you can see it right there. See it?
Yeah, looks healthy.
Yeah, it's healthy. Currant skin.
Yeah. And it smells like...
It smells like wine. It smells like a wine barrel.
It smells like musty a little bit to me, and like I was gonna say like smells like a basement, but you know, like when you say that, that doesn't exactly conjure up pleasant things.
How about
but
this?
It really does.
Like I say chalky before, like breaking a piece of chalk, like having like some wood and then like a chalk, like that really chalky character I'm getting in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is really
and
nuts,
dusty,
though.
like dusty old grapes,
Yeah.
dusty old barrels, like a cellar.
Yeah, it feels like you walked into like a cellar or something like that, like, you know, like a wine country cellar where they have, you know, barrels and stuff like that sitting around.
Yeah, maybe like an ancient wine or an ancient port was handed to you.
But I also do get some fruit in it as well.
Dusty books or something. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not all that. I do get some fruit underlying it all as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it smells like a wine barrel.
Yeah,
it smells like wine, but I absolutely get that dusty, musty character
and
as
I get
well.
like a little bit like caramelized fruit. Again, kind of like a port or a sherry or something like that. Man, it smells good.
But now I've got that chalky, dusty smell in my mind.
Right. You kind of have to dig for that fruit once you've smelled everything else.
No, but wine. I mean, you get the wine in there.
Yeah. No kidding.
Incredibly Venice. I mean, you can taste that this was aged in Cabernet barrels. It tastes like it. I mean, maybe the currants amplify that.
Yeah, that's true.
It really does. This is by far the most balanced beer. You get a really nice, lush, deep Cabernet, like those currant and plum and dark dried fruit characters to it. So that's kind of the malt side of it, is this really intensely jammy fruit. And then like just tinges of that sour to kind of balance it out. They're kind of like dancing back and forth.
Yeah.
Very musty as well on top of it. You get quite a bit of oak as well, like that kind of tannic, woody flavor. Not vanilla, not caramel, nothing like the bourbon barrels, like those toasted, heavy toast barrels.
Yeah, definitely I get a lot of oak. It's almost going into like an acetone range for me a little bit. I don't know. For me, yeah. And maybe I'm just sensitive to that today because I was kind of saying the same about the Jolly Pumpkin.
It's a good beer. It is not sour.
No.
Like, well, it is sour, but not like these.
Yeah. And
it's pretty stunning. It's a pretty stunning beer.
See, I find myself going back to the New Belgium because I think
fine.
I like that. Like, I mean, this is really nice and balanced and it's really good. But I think I just prefer kind of like that tart, citric thing that the New Belgium has.
I mean, so, you know, in the final scene of Ratatouille, where the guy takes the bite of Ratatouille and he's like transported to like a time. Look at me, like, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Something about this beer like transports me to like, I don't know, like I get these visions of like wine and like I was saying, a dusty old room with a man with some dusty books or something. It just, there's so much going on here, and it's,
More.
I really, really like this beer a lot. You know, you expect sour on an American Wild Ale show, but it's just really well crafted beer.
Yeah, it is really good. I don't quite have the revelation that you have, and for me, I think maybe I want something a little more in your face, and I'm like that with hops. Between the two of us, I mean, I'm more like, I want hops to hit me over the head. So I think that's why I'm kind of leaning towards the New Belgium a little more. But yeah, you're right. This is a really beautiful beer, very much in balance, and it's got just a lot of complexity. A lot of things are playing very nicely in this beer.
Yeah, so I'm going 97 with the Consecration. I mean, this is a world-class beer. I love it. I was going to say I liked... Last time I had Temptation, I remember thinking, yeah, I like Temptation more than Consecration. Now I had Consecration, I'm like, yeah, I like Consecration more than Temptation. And I remember thinking when I had Supplication, yeah, Supplication's the best one.
Yeah.
These guys, I mean, those creeps can brew.
They know what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll go 93 with it. I mean, I think it's really, really nice.
Yeah.
For me today, I prefer the other.
We're kind of, what is it, squabbling over where in the upper echelon of beers does this deserve to be. I mean, if you handed me any of these three beers, I would be very happy. Having not had any, well, the 09 I haven't had in a long time. I haven't had any of these in a while. It could have gone either way. I'm very, very happy.
Yeah, me too.
And you know what? American sours are great. I mean, they're really, really doing great stuff with sour beers. Not all American sours are awesome, but these three certainly are. These two are distributed pretty broadly. So, hey, if you guys are interested in sour beers, I personally like to kind of start out where style started from, but I'm a little geekier than most, so I would say, that's why I kind of did it in progressions. Go to the Flanders Red, but if you want to jump into stuff that's kind of a little more accessible physically, like I can go and get this beer, maybe start with these two. They also have a Flanders Red beer like the La Folie called La Roja. It's got like a Puss in Boots.
A little kitty cat.
Yeah, like a pirate kitty cat. Hey guys, this has been a blast for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it and are interested in trying or retrying these three beers again. Please let me know what you thought of this show, what other styles of beer you're interested in having me discuss. Leave a comment. Tell me what you thought about this beer or what your thoughts on these beers were. I really can't express how much it means to me when I hear from you guys. Up next we have the king of sour, the king of funk is coming up next. Not George Clinton.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, who? Yeah.
We're talking about Belgian Gueuze.
Bringing it.
I mean, the bad boys, the nasty, funky, dirty ones that nobody wants to allow in their party because they're just gonna stink up the place. Those type guys, those characters, we're inviting them in. So that'll be next. Not sure which ones I want to do. I've just got way too many in my cellar as it is, so I'll probably pull some out. Got to figure out how I want to go with that. But again, thank you guys. This has been a blast for me. Certainly, I enjoyed so much drinking these beers, and I've got some great. Here we go. We still got the Order Calabaza.
So he's got some great beer to drink,
and hopefully you do too.